Welcome to the Apex Insiders Push to Cash show. We got Skip Barber, children's whatever race this weekend. That doesn't matter. We got Nathan Rogers. We got F1 Capper. We're here to talk about Indycar because it's been, what, 3 weeks now? 2 weeks? I feel like there's just always a gap between these races. So, what's
Yeah.
going on, man?
Still a little bit on coming off cloud nine of last night's Pacers game. Another ridiculous win that they pulled off this year. So the city was buzzing last night and into today. It's just one playoff series, but we just really like beating the Bucks these days. So feeling good about that. Great weather and headed into the best part of the IndyCar calendar and no more long breaks. So we're gonna be rolling after this.
Yeah, well, the Pacers did do it in OT. They beat the Bucks. I did see that altercation after, which was kind of hilarious.
Yeah,
Um, what's funny was we were kind of chit chatting on our recap show, and I was like, "Hey, 66-1!" Like, and now I'm like, "Shit, maybe I should have just thrown anything at that and see where that goes." Because
yeah. I found it at 80, so I was like, okay, I'm on that.
that's a
So,
good one.
yeah,
Obviously, it's a long shot for a reason, but now I feel like I have the FOMO of like, why didn't I just do that? But it's NBA. I just don't trust myself with NBA. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, good man. I'm glad you got the dub. So you'll get your next one. You know what? What was crazy was I I didn't get home until like 6 p.m. Central Time. And the game was already halfway through. And I was like, what in the hell is that about? Like they started the game so early.
Yeah, they gave us a 9:30 Eastern tip on Sunday, so Monday was rough, and then yesterday was a 6 p.m. Eastern tip, and the stadium was half empty. Starting, people are just getting off work, and I think the Pacers probably forgot they were playing a little earlier than normal too because they started out down 20 in the
Mm-hmm.
first quarter. So it worked out, but that was weird. I don't know what the NBA's do with that, but
Yeah.
their game one will be on Sunday. I don't know time yet, but that I might be watching double action with the IndyCar race and game one.
Yeah, there's a lot of action on Sunday. So coming back to IndyCar, the race is at 1:30 Eastern, I believe. So that means I think it will kind of get into the F1 race. I forgot what time that race is. That's at 3 p.m. my time. So yeah, it should be a nice full weekend of sports. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it rains all weekend here because it's looking like it's raining today. So, anyways, let's get to Barber. So, yes, this is a great track. I do love this track just overall. Yeah, outside of Indy cars, I think it just flows well. It's just fun. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, let's hear about. I think you put your track preview. I saw. So let's
Mhm.
hear what you got.
Barber has grown on me a lot over the last couple of years. I found the race kind of boring the first couple times I watched it, but then my appreciation has grown for it as I've watched more, and it really is just like a cool track. We've got 17 turns. It's a 2.3 mile course, and there's 80 feet of elevation change in that, which you don't get a ton of in IndyCar, considering it's such like a Midwest centric sport that you're not going to have a lot of elevation change there. So we're sticking with it's 90 laps. They're staying at that number and they're not moving off of it because this lap has given this race has given IndyCar exactly what they've wanted as far as the drama and the strategy decisions. As the last 4 or 5 years, this race has played out split where about half the cars do a two-stop strategy and do a fuel save, and the other half just go flat out three-stop and see if they can move through the field of those guys just trying the two-stoppers going a little slow. So it's we see these strategy races, especially more often with what IndyCar is going to do, but this one's just naturally made for it. And I think maybe what I disliked a few years ago is it just seemed like it was difficult to pass. And the more I've watched, these guys are making it happen. One, by just the guys that are able to push full on, they can make their moves on these guys that are trying to fuel save. So there's the opportunities for passing. So some of these guys look like they have the like Mario Kart star going on or something. But then the last couple of years, people have just gotten really aggressive. IndyCar is like not calling penalties for just ramming people off the track on certain corners and stuff. So there's a lot more like bumping and weird kind of like pushing people off than you would normally see in a road course race. So kind of interesting from that front. But so we've got Scott McLaughlin, who's won the last two, and that falls in line with how this race has been, as there's been 14 races here, and Chevrolet has won 9 of those, and that's very Penske centric. They've won 8 of those, so 8 out of 14 for Penske, over half, almost like become a home race for them. So like I said, McLaughlin has his 2 wins, but his teammates, Power has his 2 wins here, and Newgarden has three wins here, which it's been a little while, but they're all very strong. And this track's also interesting when you look at the 43% winner from pole position, which I think is the highest of any track we'll see this year. And as you continue to look through the numbers, it really, really favors these cars starting up front, which we talk about a lot in these races. It's hard to pass, but the statistics really show in this race more than any that 11 out of 14 winners have come from those first 2 rows, and 9th is the furthest back that we've ever seen anyone win. When you look at podium positions, 75% come from those first 2 rows. The last 2 years, we've actually had a driver come from 11th, and Lundqvist was 19th, which I had a pretty big, like 30-1 hit on that last year, which was, I'm still just, I love looking back at that ticket. So anytime I can bring that one to my mind, I enjoy it. But those 2 guys coming from 11th and 19th are the only 2 in the last 10 races that have started 10th or worse and found a podium. So it's first 2 rows mainly, and then after that, I mean, people 5th and 6th are pretty much getting the rest. Firestone announced that they're using the same alternates as last year, so essentially all that's going to mean is we're going to have a little more deg on those, but then they're bringing harder, primary tires, which will give us a longer life on those, but I think that's going to increase the difference, the gap on the speed between the alternates and the primaries.
Yeah, this is just like a hard to pass kind of situation. Insert the new hybrid models. And that's just tricky overall. And I kind of want to touch on that is we've talked about it like crazy. The start of the season, even towards the end of last year, like how that impacts. But it almost feels like you just got to chalk once you get that position set, and then just send it whenever you can, hoping that, you get the right lines from the books and whatnot, especially in that front 2 rows. Take your chances if you want on like your top 3 and whatnot. But I do want to get to Penske because everything points to him. We talk about it often, obviously. But this is the year where you're like, what do we do about them? Like, they just been underperforming in every aspect. So my first question for you is, why is Chevy so dominant at a track like this compared to, Honda or just in general, Penske? Why is it they're so dominant here? Like, what makes them so dominant at this track at this point?
That may be just like a little above of me of what I could really say. I just know that like your 2 strongest teams are Ganassi and Andretti when it comes to Hondas, and Andretti has been particularly weak here. Ganassi's been okay. Like Pelot's had a pretty good career here, but he's probably like the main Honda you're going to look at. So I mean, I don't 100% know what necessarily makes Penske stronger here. maybe the reason the three stoppers working well for them is because they are known to have a little more power, but they're a little worse off on the fuel mileage. So when a Penske car can focus on just using the pace that they have and not having to worry about playing the fuel game, which you're normally going to lose to like a Dixon or a Pillow in that, and which Dixon and Pillow will normally kind of try to play that fuel game, and they do pretty well at it. But Penske speed just and the cautions kind of
outweighs it.
does it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's tough because like everything, even going into the weekend, I'm like, yep, it's Barber. I want to focus on Penske, and I'm like, God damn it, I don't know if I can get my mind to do it when it gets to like GridRival and all that. But you know what? I know myself. I'm probably going to take that chance. Who knows? Like, I do think like looking at the odds right now, I finally was looking around, seeing like what is actually out there, and they got some race matchups on Bet365, and I'm like, oh, it's the guy we've talked about at length. That is not a Penske nor a Chip Ganassi, Meyer Shank, Felix Rosenquist, our man. I feel like he's our guy right now. So
I love Felix.
I absolutely love this matchup with Rossi. It's just now I know Ed Carpenter has had its okay success, I guess.
Strangely, yeah.
Yes, I mean, and yes, Rossi too has burned us once already this season. But how could you not take that matchup on? That's like one of my favorite ones.
Yep, I'm on that one for three. 3/4 of a unit. Rossi has admitted that he doesn't like this track, and it comes up like every year on like his podcast and stuff. We can make jokes about Barber, and he almost like rolls his eyes. Like I don't know what it is, but he like doesn't enjoy this track, and so his results show that. I think he does have like a top 5, but that was pre-aero screen when you're like looking at championship contender Rossi.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, he's just kind of been right around top 10 classic Rossi. And so, yeah, really the only concern you would have is the ECR's success here, which they're also a Chevy engine. So maybe that aids them a little bit if Chevy really does have such an advantage here. But yeah, VK probably should have won here a few years ago, and he's had a couple good races. So I don't think Rossi will fully flop, but I think we have enough confidence in Felix in that matchup. Felix did have a really bad accident here in testing that kind of ruined his day, and he like flipped his car, ended up upside down and stuff. So hopefully he's not he hasn't lost his confidence here. That would be my only concern, but
yeah,
I mean, I guess I'm not concerned enough to not play it, so I'm on it.
You know what's frustrating is Bet365, Bovada are the only two places that are actually posting stuff. No one else is, and I'm like, come on, guys! Like, you're already copycat in so many ways. What's the difference? Just do it. Give me the option.
Yeah. We've got outrights at most books, but they're all just the same. But no one's really messing with even props or anything. I'm hoping before practice 1 that I can get that engine prop to take Chevy. I was really hoping that the books would fall for the trap of Penske not doing well, and they did not bite on that at all. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But I still think with Pillow being such a favorite in the odds and people seeing Andretti so high right now that maybe people might bet them down a little bit, even though I'm not touching that. I want the Chevy engines at plus money if I can. If not, if it's around even money, I'll probably still buy it because I'm just having a hard time picking which Penske, and I also really like Pato and Lundgaard this weekend. So
I was going to say McLaren seems like a team that we need to be keeping an eye on this weekend for sure, over Andretti even. And that was the other matchup that I was staring at, which was where was it? I thought I saw it. No, maybe I was combining my own matchup in my head where I was looking at Lundgaard versus like Herta or something, but that would be nice actually.
Yeah, I was hoping for some matchups like that. This was honestly a race where I kind of had pictured what I really like in my mind, and I could have saw myself really putting some big units pre-qualifying if I saw the right things, and the books did not give me that. So I'm kind of short right now, but that's all right. We'll find something.
Well, I think with the other matchups, I kind of do like the Marcus Armstrong over Ericsson. I mean, it's at minus 125. Why not? Like, if I wanted
I
to.
did take that for half a unit, a little
Yeah.
less. Um, Ericsson, the best finish he's ever had, even with Ganassi, a little bit better team here, is seventh, average of 11. So kind of like Rossi, where he just sits in that mid pack. He's not that impressive. Um, Armstrong was in that test also. He didn't have a great day, but I'm not too worried about that. He's had some okay results here for half a unit. I like that. Um, for anyone that doesn't have Bet365 and maybe have Hard Rock, they have the groups posted, and you could take Armstrong and Rosenquist over Ericsson and Rossi, and you're essentially just getting one of them to hit. So that essentially comes out to like a minus 140 odds, I think it is, which is a little juiced, but when you consider the fact you get two people, when I think there's an advantage there, I think that's kind of worth the juice if you don't have those matchups.
Yeah, I'm just checking Bovada because they have some groups. So they have Group A, which is basically Pato, Lundgaard, Newey, and Dixon. Not too hyped about that one.
It's hard to pick from that group of who really stands
No.
out. I mean, I could see any of them having the best day. So it's just
It really doesn't. And even Group B, like even though I like Armstrong and Felix in those matchups against Ericsson and Rossi, like why take those when I could just take the head-to-head matchups at where they're at? They're just kind of baiting you for that one. I just don't care for it at all. Like these prices kind of suck. So to me, I think it's best to wait for these the ones on Bovada at least, or Bet365 maybe, because since they copy them. Well, let's talk about top three. Let's see what odds we got there. I'm finally seeing some odds being posted. Man, they have Alex Flow at minus 170. Jesus. Jeez.
yeah.
I don't think I could do that pre-flop.
No.
Especially after your stats. Like, you're better off just waiting.
Yeah, and I mean it could get worse if he puts it on pull, but I mean there's just
Yeah.
I never take
Not that
someone
much.
that minus money like that pre-qualifying. There's too much that could go on from now until Sunday morning.
I guess a long shot at top three. Who is a guy that, we've focused on the top drivers. Who's a guy that could just actually come out and just surprise people? And I'm not saying they will put it at top three, but let's just even hypothetically say you had top 5 odds. Like Malukas?
So we haven't seen Malukas here in 2 years, so it's and AJ Foyt hasn't shown enough this year to. I'm just waiting on Malukas this year for me to really understand who he is in that car. We've talked about Rosenquist already, but at plus 500 for a podium.
It's not bad, actually, considering.
He's been in the last 6, 2 of the last 3 years, and the other year was 8th. So he did finish top 5 last year, so not a podium there. But outside of that, I mean, VK's been good here, but also it's hard to say in a coin car that could, I'd rather maybe find VK in a matchup or something if I could later in the weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think right now, one, I'm not going to be placing any of those top 3 just outright, just having fun with it, just talking some odds, since I actually haven't been able to talk odds this week. So it's always good to talk odds with you. And but man,
I might go with one of those McLaren cars.
Yeah.
At 180 and 220 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet. I guess
You
get
have
get
280 for Lundgaard?
no 220.
Oh, 220. Okay.
180
Damn.
for Pato. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I really do like the McLaren play this weekend because I'm with you. I'm scared to do anything Penske. I don't think I will put any odds behind them. I may play some GridRival, which we'll get into here in a second, just depending. I actually haven't seen what's been posted, but definitely McLaren is one that I would be eyeing for sure. Lundgaard, and then Felix. He's just got to back that man. He's just been a fucking stallion this year, just overall. So I do love that Felix Rosenquist over Rossi minus 115, and then yeah, and I definitely lean that Marcus Armstrong, and it looks like you played them both. I don't know if that's good or bad that we both like it like that.
I say good. I say it's good.
Well, let's dive into GridRival. The guys have been pretty awesome, although they took me for my money the last race in F1. It's been up and down. I've had some few good weeks, few bad weeks in F1, but luckily IndyCar did save me from my terrible F1 week, so it's been kind of evening out a little bit with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get. We'll look out for qualifying plays
Qualifying,
again.
yeah.
Hopefully, that would be fun. But otherwise, right now they just kind of have some of the favorites out there. I did make one play to start. I guess while you're looking over that, I took Herta worse than 4.5, which I think is now moved to 5.5, and I took Lundgaard better than 6.5. So a little correlation of I think Lundgaard can get in that top 5, and that takes one spot away from Herta trying to get in there. When you look at Herta, his average qualifying is 11.4, with ninth being his best. He's never even made the Fast 6 here. And his average finish is 15.6, with eighth being his best. So he's never had a top 5 finish. Andretti overall last year finished 8th, 10th, and 18th here. So just it's not like they even necessarily have a setup to go off of that worked for them last year. To pile on top of that, Andretti, kind of surprising to me, they chose to not show up here for the test. They went to thermal instead. And this is one of Andretti's worst tracks. So kind of surprising that this was nearly a full field test and Andretti was not one of those teams. So if I get more opportunities to fade Andretti in matchups and maybe some GridRival, then I'm going to be looking for that.
I'm actually eyeing Lundgaard better with Kirkwood worse than 7.5. But let me ask you, since you were scoping the lines earlier than I have, did Kirkwood, or was he always at 7.5, or did he get bumped?
I think he was at 6.5, and I haven't played on that, but I guess maybe someone has because I think it's moved.
Yeah, man, that would have been perfect. That's why.
Yeah, I was looking at that with maybe like an Armstrong better or something, but
I hate when it gets bumped because then I got to think, like, do I take it the other way at some point? But
yeah, sometimes it doesn't end up mattering. But when that number moves, it feels like you lost so much value on that one spot. So.
Well, I mean, let's talk that through. I mean, I personally don't think Kirkwood's gonna be. He could easily end up in just 8. Well, here's what could impact everything. If Penske can do fine, then that gets him bumped out. That's just how I feel with it. The three horsemen, right? Will, Scotty, and that bumps them out because they will be in the top 10, all three of them, unless stupidity happens. I just can't see it. So we got to probably correlate that with a Kirkwood, with Andretti. So like maybe that's where I kind of get crazy and say, if you do believe that they're going to be in the top 10, then you take the worst on like an Ericsson or Herta and Kirkwood is even better. I think I might do some crazy play like that. So like a Kirkwood worse, even though they've been bumped. Herta worse. Joseph better. Damn, Scotty's at 2.5. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, but, like him and Power are just so low. Like Power's actually hit this number in the last 4 races, but still just being at 4. I
I can't do that.
Yeah, they're just a little
I
low.
could do
Like
Joseph at 5, and that's my cutoff, maybe 4.5.
yeah,
But
which
if I'm gonna do this fun one, this is just what I consider my fun one right now. Just because of that logic I'm going by. Then I'm gonna do Christian better 6.5. And how many do I have? 4. Let's get one more. Let's get one more in here. Ooh,
um
Armstrong?
I did like Armstrong finishing top 10. He doesn't normally. He kind of had a rough race at Long Beach. He doesn't normally kind of have like a string of bad races. Um, I don't know that I can trust VK at 13.5, even though I do feel like this is probably one of the tracks he likes more.
But does Dale Coyne actually do it this weekend? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I don't. And
You
he's
know what?
able.
We're gonna go nuts on this one. We're gonna do Renus Wars with it. We're gonna do wait, what was the other one? Ray Hall, you said? Or no? I want to do
Armstrong.
Rossi. I'm gonna do Rossi Wars
Oh yeah,
too.
Rossi's on there. Yeah,
All right, Rossi Wars.
11.
So we're down. We're up to 6. 35x. Do we go more? Push it. We push it.
Just play the whole card. The whole field is there.
I might actually. Um, let's just keep it at this. Let's just keep it at this. We're just really,
Yeah,
we're already stretching it enough. This is not hitting, by the way. Full disclosure, just for fun.
So 3 units only.
3 units only. Fuck, should I put like $25 on this? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna be dumb. But I will. I'll just put $5. That's enough. That's fine. And I'm doing full throttle too. I don't fuck around with safety cars. You guys can. I won't.
I haven't. I just haven't played like big enough cards. I just hate it.
I
It
hate it
cuts
too.
into the like. Just let me lose.
I will do it because I know myself. I'm going to probably do a $5 crazy card for F1 this weekend. So that's my $10 unit. I'm going to just donate, or $10 that I'm going to donate between Indy and F1 to GridRival, because I appreciate you guys for being good partners and listening to us. And I guarantee you will get quality lines anyways. But it's in. That's my stupid play. We'll call it the F1 capper stupid play. Boom. There it is.
Beautiful.
Okay. So, but real talk. Let me just take a screenshot of this very quick so I can post it to the Degens Indy Pick Ems channel when I get there. I love those guys. Yeah, I think for my pick, right now I'd probably be actually leaning Worse, Kirkwood, Christian Lundgaard better. I think that would be my favorite too. And I'm probably just going to do it. What do you think? I hate that it's bumped, but which one did you do again? You said Herda?
Herda, yeah.
Which maybe, why don't I just do both of them and just do a 3 card?
Yeah, I mean
5.5 and 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like we did in Long Beach, we tried to have McLaren prove to us that they could be better, and we were right that they weren't any good there. So besides Lundgaard, but same strategy with Andretti here. Like they haven't tested, they haven't been good here. Like prove it to us that they're going to improve and rely on that.
Which one would you rather do, Herda 5.5 or 7.5 at this point, being bumped?
Kirkwood's tough because every time I bet on him, he sits there in like 8th or 9th. Every time I try to like fade him, then he's winning races and stuff. But I guess I would rather go Herta. He has that like volatility a little bit more, and he just hasn't proven ever
That's
to
true.
be great here or
It's true.
even good. He's just been extremely average.
I'll do it. We'll go in. I hate that it's bumped. I'll maybe go a little bit less than what I would normally do, $25 or whatever. Maybe I'll just do. I kind of want to save some of my cash for quali because I feel like they're really going to come out. That's why I'm like thinking maybe I just hold off. But I'll sit on it. I'll sleep on it. I'll think about it. I'll maybe get with IndyCar UK's #1 fan, Renegade, who hates IndyCar. He doesn't know anything about IndyCar. Cool. Well, let's move on to the next one, which is we got two things actually, Eliminator and Fantasy. But let's get to Fantasy. I gotta get my shit together there. So based on what we have talked about, I gotta add a driver. So, oh boy.
So anyone who followed the Louis Foster play on the last podcast, they got an extra $2 million.
Yeah.
So that worked out, and I feel like he could still improve from there at 5.5. I feel like he's gonna keep going above like the Jacob Abel, and the Primas are gonna have rough weekends where they just their car breaks, things like that. So for a low salary there, and he's been like he's been fast too. I think he made the fast 12 a couple races ago. He's not qualifying back there like Stingray, like 25th and stuff. Yeah, I mean, when I look at my lineup, I feel like I'm gonna like break a record for most points, and then I'll have two people wreck. But I'm just mixing in a lot of Penske, a little bit of like Lundgaard, and then the Meyer Shank cars are at a nice mid-range value that you can use. Felix, you can still use as your double points there.
Oh man, I got to fill in a driver. What pisses me off was I had Herta and like Newgarden, and that's turned out to be an absolute fucking disaster to start the year.
Yeah.
Everything else has actually turned out okay for the most part. I think I did have Foster in last week. I actually had Rossi in my lineup, and he's done okay. Armstrong, same thing. Don't ask me why I did this, but I had Ferrucci just for 4 races, and he's done perfect for me.
Yeah, I'm in one like smaller league with my friends, and the guy in first, I was like, well, what's he doing, and what's his magic? And he's got Ferrucci in his lineup.
Ferrucci.
So, yeah, I guess that's the
who
secret.
would have thought out of my entire lineup, Ferrucci was actually going to be one of my best drivers. I did not think that, and I only have him for one more race. I was saving it because I think it was when I was looking at the salaries, like, oh, Indy 500. Let's make sure we get him ready for that. So I put him for 4 races. So I have him for this last race. And you know what? He's going to be back into my lineup just for 1 race, maybe longer. Who knows? So now I need a driver.
Yep, that's something for everyone to consider too. Is like the Indy 500. I mean, like we said, it's not more points, but it just seems more important, and you want to you want to have a good squad for that. So, if you want to use a driver, you need to either extend their contract, into the Indy 500 or past it, or just use them for this one race so that you can have them back for the.
And that's why I did that with Joseph Newgarden too. He's now out. I'm not going to use him the next 2 races actually, and then I'll pick him back up, which I need to figure out. What do you think of so I guess Lundgaard I could do. I have to actually 25.3 million. I could pick any one of these guys except for I don't even know if I want to pick a Penske. Do I do Lundgaard or do I do a Felix and just say, you know what, we'll chill with that?
So a nice play that I've kind of like, you can take Lundgaard, especially in the next 2 races. Everyone knows how good he is at the NDGP. And then hopefully you can build some salary and get a lot of good points from him in the next 2 races. And then you'll get a good chunk of money back there sitting for you for the 500.
Yep. But he's already increased 1.3 million. That's what I'm afraid of, is he's had some good races. I know he definitely has the opportunity.
for
I mean,
sure.
obviously I can't control that, but I was thinking Lundgaard, or I buy low on Pato, who's already down 1.3. He has the opportunity to pick back up this weekend.
He's good at the GP too.
I know
He's
he's just been kind of trash, man. Right, like this year, except for um, thermal.
thermal, yeah. So
Yep.
maybe he's got something going on road courses.
Yeah, maybe that's what it
That's
is.
one. So then we got 2 road courses coming up, and then Paddle Award at the 500. I think everyone's going to want that on their team.
I'm gonna take a chance on Pato. I'm gonna roll the dice 2 races on him. Wait, actually, but he's good, isn't he? He could be good in Indy too.
I mean, he seems like he's either going to have the most like painful career in Indy of like should have won 20 times, or he's going to win like
I,
several Indy 500s.
I'm gonna do him for 1 race, have him locked, so I can maybe pick him back up for Indy 500, and then I'll pick Lundgaard next week, and then don't care that he's in my lineup for Indy 500. I think that's what I'm gonna do. That's the winner. Let's get to the Eliminator. Let's get to Eliminator.
That's been a lot of fun. I mean, I wish there was a way we could have more people, like join a mid-season or something, but it just probably wouldn't be a good financial decision for them there. But it's been fun. I've played a little safe so far, except for Herta in the first race, and that didn't work out for me. So I'm sitting very low in the standings and very sad as I watch people get their big points with Kirkwood and Pillow the last couple of races. But it's my strategy to hope to have some big dogs at the end of the season, an oval season. See if I can make a comeback. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun and a challenge to really plan that out.
Yeah, no, I mean that was huge. 4 of us were picked Kirkwood. Let's see, Bet Indy's in first place. He is rolling right now. But like you said, long season, anything can still happen. Yeah, I'm kind of excited now. I feel like there's a lot of pressure to make sure that I make the right picks because I just kept steady Eddie, and then we hit it pretty big with Kirkwood. So I need to find a way to pick the right driver this weekend and try to optimize. Wait, so how are we doing the Indy 500? Are we doing? We have
Just
2.
get to pick 2 drivers. Yep. So I thought with
Mm,
the addition of some of those one-off guys, that gives you a little more people to choose.
I think we got a little.
I just thought with it being the biggest race of the year, let's add to it, make it more important, make it more the most important race of the eliminator.
So if we pick, if we pick those 2 drivers, that's it. Both drivers are not allowed to be picked. So we got to be very strategic on that one.
Yep.
Oh man, that's fucking rough. I don't know what to pick on those 2.
Exciting.
Well, I did not know that. For the listeners, we do an eliminator challenge where it's basically like NFL Survivor. And every week we got to pick a driver. Once you pick them, you can't use them anymore. There's a point system. And I don't remember how much I paid. I pretty much am donating my money to, looks like Bet Indy at this point. So it's good to see that he's up top. Well, I don't know if there's any closing thoughts that you have or anything that you want to tell people before we conclude here.
I guess briefly that we had the 2 days of Indy 500 testing in April, which sometimes can be pretty meaningless because it'd be cool and kind of gloomy in April, and then when we get into May, we have like a lot warmer temperatures. But it was kind of weird because we had a lot of rain in Indy the day after the test, and even the day during the second day of the test. But there was just this like dome over the speedway that kept it nice and beautiful there for them to get laps in, and so I think we got some good information on who's looking strong early and maybe who's going to be struggling. Sato looked to be like the fastest car of like the whole field. He in multiple ways he posted the fastest no toe lap with the boost, and he also hit like the fastest speed in his car right before he obliterated it. Um, which is good for Ray Hall Letterman to be better. But I guess just to tie it up in a bow is that one of the plays I've had out for a long time was Scott McLaughlin 10-1 to win the Indy 500. If you want to like read about that, right, you can find it on my Twitter or in the Discord of my thoughts on that. But I think FanDuel is even at 11-1, and that 10-1 is hung around like so many other books. And maybe that's because he hasn't had the best start to the year, but I feel like McLaughlin is going to start on the front row again. I feel like he's just got that much more experience. If you want to take that now, I feel like it's going to be to your advantage because I feel like he will close at a 4 or 5-1 on race day. So I just think there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, I need to start looking into those odds. The other one I was thinking, I've been just eyeing is I still can get Alex Palou to win the championship at plus 150, which I'm like, I don't know why I haven't done it. I think I do know why. It's because I keep saving my money for F1 and I want to like throw a bunch on plays that way. And I hate futures because it just holds your money for some time. So, but I'm probably going to do it. What are the chances it gets longer though? After, does it need to be? He has to be outside of like the top 5, and does a specific team or driver need to be winning the next 2 races for that to happen, or the next race, just the next race even?
Yeah, I mean, I think he would need to lose a good chunk of his lead by like after the 500 or something, which I don't necessarily see happening because he's actually really good in the next 3 places at Barber, Indy GP, and the 500, and Detroit after that. So, yeah, I luckily it seems like the books kind of leave the championship odds up, so you can kind of see how Barber's going and maybe find it and still get it that 150.
No, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna put some of my cash on it anyways, and just this book specifically is XBet. It's where I've been placing a lot of my futures for F1. It's where we got Lewis Hamilton to win a race. No, most of us got it at like plus 920. It's dropped even down to plus 600, down to even now. I checked even this morning is a plus 300. So I've just considered that my futures playbook. So
Yeah,
it's
and
not bad.
the bright side of an IndyCar futures is that it's the shortest season of like any sport out there. So you'll get your money back maybe a little quicker.
I will admit, I love that it's that short. I hate the gaps between the races. It's my only complaint. Because right now, my struggle with F1 is I went from like it used to be 18 races max to now there's 24, and I feel like every weekend I am doing something with F1, and it gets exhausting. It's a little too much in my opinion.
Fun, yeah.
Yeah.
My last thing that I kind of wanted to mention that I just thought of is that I think this Barber race is one of the better opportunities for live betting. I don't do a lot of live betting. It's kind of hard to find those great spots, but with this strategy being like a guaranteed mix, as long as it's going how it's gone, it gives you that chance to maybe the books aren't paying attention to who's leading the alternate strategy, and there's no way you can guarantee pre-race that you've got 2 drivers on the 2 different strategies. So that's where the live betting has to come into play, where ideally maybe you can have one of the top drivers on one strategy and find a way to get decent odds on a top driver on the other strategy. And just whenever those 2 strategies collide, hopefully you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, no, I wish I had that option for live betting. Honestly, I just wish anyone from IndyCar can give us a plethora of options to bet on their race. be more like GridRival. Give us options. Give us qualifying. I mean,
100%.
they just started doing IndyCar this past year, and look at them. They advanced much faster than the others. But man, it's always great. I love having the chats with you on this. Love getting the breakdowns. So yeah, let's cash in this weekend. Hopefully I'll get some good stuff to bet on this week. So
Yeah, back at you, and enjoy doing it, and hope we're making people some money
yeah, man. All right, we'll see ya.
later.